Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Every new technology gets called a game changer, but with AI, it really feels like it is. It's changing the rules of engagement in ways that must keep cybersecurity professionals up at night.
Oh, absolutely. It's the ultimate double-edged sword.
Right. A massive opportunity on one hand, but just a radical new avenue for attack on the other.
That's the perfect way to frame it. I mean, AI gives us capabilities we've just never had before, threat detection at a massive scale, automated response, but it also fundamentally alters the risk calculus.
So,
Well, you're suddenly dealing with these confident, opaque systems that can fail silently, or they can be tricked in ways that traditional software simply couldn't be.
and that is exactly why we're doing this deep dive. Our source material today is the foundational guidance document designed to address this very balance. It's the initial preliminary draft of the NIST internal report, IR 8596 IBTO.
Which is a mouthful.
It is. Most people just call it the Cyber AI Profile.
Huh.
It was published back in December 2025, and it's really become the community's starting point.
And what's so smart about it, I think, is that it's not some new policy created out of thin air. It's a community profile.
Meaning it builds on what's already there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It applies the established NIST Cybersecurity Framework, CSF 2.0. It takes those well-known security outcomes, the 5 functions, and it custom tailors them. It says, okay, if you're implementing this function with an AI system, this is what suddenly becomes your highest priority.
So our mission today is to unpack that prioritization. We need to get into what NIST sees as the 3 core battlegrounds, and this is the crucial part, why certain security tasks that might have seemed minor suddenly become mission critical when AI enters the picture.
Right. We're essentially giving you the map to secure your AI, use AI for your defense, and thwart those AI-enabled attacks.
And that strategic thinking is everything, because as the profile notes, the failure modes are just new. You have AI confidently spitting out wrong answers, you have data leakage, you have this really sophisticated manipulation by attackers.
Getting your head around that complexity requires a specialized focus.
And before we dive into the structure of that profile, let's quickly acknowledge our sponsors. Because managing the complexity of these evolving guidelines, especially the risk prioritization and the compliance side, that's often the immediate bottleneck for organizations.
It truly is. When you're grappling with a rapidly moving target like the AI regulatory landscape, the sheer effort it takes just to establish policy and then conduct accurate compliance assessments, it can become overwhelming fast.
So specialized tools become almost non-negotiable.
They do. And if your organization needs help with exactly that, establishing policy, conducting compliance assessments for these new AI guidelines, we really encourage you to check out our sponsors, www.cisomarketplace.com and www.airriskassess.com.
And you can connect this directly to the NIST profile we're talking about today, can't you?
Absolutely. Take the governance outcome, GV.OC03. That's all about ensuring compliance with legal and regulatory requirements. It's a high priority under the secure focus area precisely because the legal framework for AI is still forming.
So it's moving target.
A very fast-moving target. And if you need a micro tool just to streamline that specific compliance assessment piece, compliance.airriskassess.com is an invaluable resource. So, check those out. They can really simplify your journey against these standards.
Okay, let's unpack this cyber AI profile map. NIST has organized the entire intersection of AI and cyber into 3 distinct focus areas, which makes the whole topic immediately, more digestible.
Yeah, it really does.
And this is where it gets really interesting.
The 3 pillars are secure, defend, and thwart.
Let's start with focus area 1, secure. This one, it seems straightforward on the surface, but what does securing an AI system actually entail?
So secure is the foundation. It's really about managing all the cybersecurity challenges that come with integrating any kind of AI system into your infrastructure.
So not just the big flashy LLM.
Not at all. It could be a massive LLM,
Mm.
a specific Gen AI tool, or even a simple predictive maintenance system. You're securing the components themselves, the models, the data pipelines, the entire machine learning infrastructure.
And I imagine the challenge here is that AI systems aren't like static software. They're constantly learning and adapting, right? They operate in this state of high context.
Precisely. The profile emphasizes that AI behavior is inherently more, dynamic, more opaque, and it's much harder to predict than traditional systems.
So finding a bug isn't so simple anymore.
Not even close. If you have a vulnerability and it's buried deep within the training data, or maybe it only emerges in a very specific operational context, it becomes exponentially harder to identify, verify, and diagnose.
Compared to finding a known CVE in a web app.
Exactly. You're essentially trying to find a flaw in the ingredients of the system, not just the assembly instructions.
Hmm.
We're talking about securing the AI that an insurance company uses to calculate risk, or the mission-critical systems a power grid relies on to balance loads. The impact of a compromise is just immense.
Okay, so if AI is the problem in Area 1, let's look at how NIST says AI becomes the solution in Focus Area 2. Defend. This is the opportunity side of the coin.
Right. This is all about using AI to actively enhance your existing cybersecurity processes.
So what are the biggest gains people are seeing when they start to do that?
It really boils down to two things: speed and scale. Think about the massive data overload security teams face every single day.
The alert fatigue.
The alert fatigue is real. AI shines here by supporting defensive operations. It sifts through huge volumes of alerts. It distinguishes a serious threat from all the background noise. It prioritizes actions during a breach. It just dramatically increases the capacity of the human defenders.
So it's not replacing the defender, it's empowering them, like an incredible predictive filter.
That's a great way to put it. We see huge opportunities in proactive risk management, like predictive analysis of attack patterns. And there's this emerging field of agent-based AI defense.
What's that?
Imagine swarm agents that can coordinate to quickly identify and neutralize an attack vector, all running sanity checks on each other autonomously. It's highly dynamic. And it also promises to streamline some of the more mundane tasks like compliance assessments.
Which brings us to Focus Area 3, Thwart. This is where we face the reality that, if we can use AI for defense, our adversaries can use it much more aggressively for offense.
And they are. Thwart is all about resilience. It's about building the cyber equivalent of an immune system against these new, sophisticated, and massively efficient adversarial uses of AI.
The document highlights acceleration as the main threat, right?
It does. AI just lowers the barrier to entry for bad actors. It gives even moderately sophisticated threat groups the ability to operate at machine speed.
Can you give us a concrete example of that acceleration in practice?
Sure, look at spear phishing. It used to be really time-consuming to research a target and tailor a convincing email.
Right, a lot of human effort.
A ton. Now, AI-enabled attacks can generate deepfake audio or video for social engineering. Or they can create these Gen AI-crafted, hyper-realistic, malicious websites that are personalized to the target, and they can do it all at massive scale and speed. It just eliminates that human reconnaissance step.
And are we talking about truly new types of attacks?
Yes, especially in malware. Adversaries are using AI to generate entirely new forms of malware polymorphic code that's designed specifically to evade signature-based detections. We're moving beyond mass attacks and toward these customized, autonomous, orchestrated campaigns.
Where an AI agent is running the whole show.
Essentially, yeah, handling the recon, exploitation, credential harvesting, all without a human guiding every single step.
That sounds like a true evolution in the threat landscape. Now, How do these three areas, secure, defend, and thwart, how do they all work together? It sounds like you can't really optimize one without the others.
You can't, and that's the key insight from Figure 1 in the NIST document. They form this necessary feedback loop. So secure provides that critical foundational security.
So if your own AI system is sound,
you've already built resilience against the advanced attacks that Thwart deals with. A well-secured model is automatically harder for an AI attacker to trick or poison.
right, that makes sense.
And importantly, the threat intelligence we gain by analyzing those adversarial attacks under Thwart, that gives us insights that feed right back into improving our baseline in Secure.
So it's a cycle.
It's a holistic system. And meanwhile, Defend capitalizes on those AI opportunities, but those AI-enabled defenses are only reliable if the systems they're running on are themselves well secured.
It sounds like a continuously strengthening defense posture, but only if you actually dedicate the resources to maintain that cycle.
It requires constant effort, which brings us perfectly to the prioritization schema.
Okay, let's pivot to that. The profile assigns a priority 1 for high, 2 for moderate, 3 for foundational to every action. I really want to examine why certain established security outcomes suddenly jump to priority 1 in the AI context. This, I think, illuminates the real pressure points for a modern CISO.
This section is really the unique fingerprint of AI risk. Starting with Secure, an outcome that jumps immediately to high priority is data inventories.
Inventorying data and metadata. I mean, that sounds like basic data governance, something every organization should already be doing. Why the sudden high priority status?
Because for AI, the data is the system. ID AM07 is priority 1 because data provenance, knowing the origin and nature of your data, is mutually supported with security. If you don't know the full history, the integrity, the source of your training data, you have a massive, massive vulnerability.
Especially data from external sources.
Especially then, data integrity is elevated to be just as critical as software integrity. It's like you're building a rocket, but you don't know if the fuel you're using is pure or if it's been spiked with sand.
Wow, that really shifts the focus from just inventorying servers to validating every byte of training data.
It does. And closely related is another high priority under secure, GVSC03, supply chain risk integration. We already scrutinize our hardware and software supply chains right now.
Okay.
Well, organizations must now treat the supply chain for data with that same level of rigor. A compromised data set from a third-party vendor is now a potentially catastrophic attack vector.
And even if your data is secure, you still have to identify all the new ways these systems can be broken. Which I guess is why IDRA04, identifying potential impacts, is also a priority one.
Absolutely. Your traditional risk register is just insufficient. AI introduces entirely new attack vectors we have to document, things like adversarial input, data leakage from an LLM, and operational issues like concept drift or error-amplifying feedback loops.
Concept drift is fascinating and terrifying. That's when the model's performance degrades over time because the real world changes, but the model hasn't been retrained on that new reality, right?
That's it, exactly. And the impact isn't some immediate, obvious failure. It's a subtle, confident erosion of trust until the model just becomes unreliable. Identifying that specific potential impact is now a critical top priority task.
Okay, let's look at the high priority items under defend. The actions that maximize how we can use AI in our own defenses.
Right. For detection, 2 items really stand out. First, DEAE03, correlating information from multiple sources. That jumps to priority 1.
I'm assuming the opportunity here is AI's ability to find the needle in that proverbial haystack.
That is the entire point. In an age of autonomous attacks, threat detection has to operate faster than human speed. AI improves detection dramatically by flagging anomalies and correlating suspicious behaviors across dozens of log sources, things that are just impossible for a human SOC team to spot.
And once it's detected, you need rapid triage, which leads to RSMA03, categorize and prioritize incidents, also a priority 1.
Yes. If the incoming attack is an AI-influenced event, like a deepfake campaign, your response protocol has to recognize it immediately. The idea is to integrate AI-driven analytics directly into your triage system to flag these novel events in real time. If you treat an AI-orchestrated attack like an old virus, your response will be too slow.
Which makes the governance piece, GVRR02, defining roles and responsibilities critical as well. But why is defining roles for an AI a top priority?
This is where we really confront the human-machine collaboration challenge. As AI agents start augmenting your personnel, and as they start taking autonomous actions, blocking IPs, quarantining machines, you have to clearly define who's accountable.
So if the AI makes a mistake?
Exactly. If an AI agent has a false positive and takes down a key service, who's responsible? You need absolute clarity on that balance between oversight and autonomy, the human-in-the-loop question, before you deploy that defensive AI.
That clarity is essential. Okay, finally, let's look at the top priorities under Thwart, which is all about building resilience.
So under Thwart, we see the need to fortify our infrastructure. And surprisingly, PRPS03, hardware maintenance, is a priority 1.
Hardware maintenance, that feels incredibly low level for a cutting-edge AI framework. Why the massive jump in status?
Because AI requires massive amounts of compute power. We're talking GPUs, TPUs, all this accelerated compute hardware. If that infrastructure is unsecure or unmaintained, it becomes a high-value target for AI-enabled attacks that want to steal models or co-opt those resources for botnets. It's the engine room, and it needs priority 1 scrutiny.
And the final one, IDRA 06, Risk Response Planning.
The rationale here is simple, but it's an organizational game changer. The combination of AI increasing the baseline risk and lowering the barrier to entry for attackers means you simply cannot afford slow responses. You need pre-planned, rapid risk responses. It's non-negotiable.
So wrapping up this deep dive into the NIST Cyber AI profile, what's the core takeaway we want our listeners to walk away with?
I think it's that the profile is an adaptable, strategic guide. It forces you to integrate these AI-specific considerations into your existing risk management, focusing on all 3 things at once: securing your own AI, leveraging AI for defense, and building resilience.
And critically, this requires continuous movement. I notice the profile itself makes GD.PO02, ensuring policy is reviewed and updated, a high priority for both secure and defend. Because the tech moves so fast, a policy that was good today might be dangerously outdated in 3 months.
Which brings us to a final challenge for you, the listener, to really consider. The document stresses the need to frequently reevaluate your organization's risk tolerance for AI. That's codified in GVRM 02.
That risk appetite statement, how much failure are you actually willing to accept?
Exactly. Given that the threat landscape is changing constantly, organizations have to determine the exact appropriate balance between human oversight, the human in the loop, and true AI autonomy in their defenses. That decision on where you draw that line between human validation and machine action, that directly impacts your risk tolerance, and it's a challenge every organization has to tackle right now.
A perfect thought to take with you. This has been a critical look at how global standards are trying to keep pace with the exponential speed of AI. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
Always a pleasure.